I think the Blackmagic Studio Camera 4K is the camera that most churches should be using for their live stream in the $1,000 price range. We've been using it for a few years now, and I'm still blown away by the image quality, especially at this price point. And yes, it's still using the same sensor from the 2018 Pocket Cinema camera, but honestly, it still holds up in 2025, and it will for years to come. You're not going to find much that can compete in this price range. It goes without saying that you need to have decent stage lighting for this camera to look its best. That's the case with any camera. The more light you can give the sensor, the better off you're going to be. If your lighting is less than ideal, then I would focus on upgrading that before you do your camera. In our case, we have the stage appropriately lit, but it honestly could use a little bit more. We're maxing out our two Chauvet Eve fixtures for our key lighting. It helps a ton if you can afford to get lenses that have a constant f2.8 aperture. For instance, if you were to get the version of this lens that has a constant f4 aperture, you would be letting in half as much light as the 2.8 variant. Then if you opt for the version that goes from f4 to 5.6, when you extend to the end of the zoom range, your f-stop will only go as low as 5.6, which is a quarter of the amount of light of 2.8. So lens choice is very important to get the most out of your camera sensor. You can see that this camera looks really good on our stage at f2.8. I'm boosting ISO to 2 dB to get the exposure that I want, which is my skin tones at around 65% on the Luma waveform. Ideally, you want to keep your camera at its native ISO setting. This will give you the cleanest result with the best dynamic range. 0 dB or ISO 400 is the native setting for this camera, and boosting ISO past that is actually pretty forgiving. Here's an example of what it looks like when we boost to 12 dB for our worship lighting, which is dimmer. The Studio 4K actually has two native ISOs, 0 dB and 18 dB. Here's an example of what the camera looks like if I were to just rely on the overhead room lighting without any stage lights on, with the camera boosted to 18 dB. The noise does look a little funky, but not bad considering what I'm asking of it. Noise is always more noticeable against a grayish black background, so keep that in mind if you don't have any lighting on your background. If you're still trying to figure out how to dial in your camera settings, then be sure to grab my free camera settings cheat sheet down in the description. Alright, let's break down the pros and cons of the Studio 4K. Number 1, image quality. Even with an older sensor, the dynamic range and sharpness are impressive, especially with decent lighting and a good lens. You really don't need anything better than this for a live stream. Number 2, HDMI and SDI flexibility. You can send out just about any resolution or frame rate up to 60 frames per second. No weird limitations like you get with some DSLRs, and on all of the G2 models you get HDMI 2.0 and 12G SDI connections. Number 3, built-in color profiles. The extended video profile gives you more dynamic range without needing to go full log. You can even load LUTs or tweak things straight from your ATEM. These flatter color profiles give your camera a more cinema camera look. However, if it's not your taste, you can just stick with standard and it looks great as well. Number 4, ATEM integration. You can control every function of your camera from any ATEM switcher. That's huge if your camera is mounted up high and hard to reach. We have focus controls and quick ISO changes mapped to our Stream Deck, which changes all cameras at the same time. Number 5, built-in tally lights. If you're running a multicam setup, this makes a big difference. It shows your operator which camera is live, so there's no guessing. Number 6, good for pre-recorded content too. Just know you'll need to record externally in Blackmagic RAW. The files are big, but they look amazing. You will need Blackmagic software to process and export, but it has a free version. Alright, now some of the cons. Number 1, no autofocus tracking. You can tap to focus, but it won't follow your subject. If you need that, this might not be the right camera. Number 2, no internal recording. It only records externally to a USB drive and in Blackmagic RAW. Again, the files look great, but they're huge and take extra steps. I recommend going with the lowest bitrate if you do record. It looks great and it saves on space. Number 3, a fixed screen. It's a nice touchscreen, but it doesn't flip or tilt. So if the camera is mounted high, you'll need an external monitor or ATEM control. Number 4, no battery power. You have to use the included power supply. We use barrel plug extenders to make the cable a little bit longer and easier to manage. Now let's talk about the different models because there are a few. First up, the Studio Camera 4K Plus. The Gen 1 was originally made for ATEM mini users and it only has HDMI out, but the newer G2 version adds SDI output, so make sure you know which one you're getting if you buy used. Next is the Studio 4K Pro. This one allows you to stream in 1080p directly from the camera, which is great for a simple one camera setup. It also adds an XLR input and a 10 gig Ethernet port, which can send and receive all of the connections and power the camera from one Cat6a cable. It also has a better display with higher brightness and HDR. Then there's the Studio Camera 6K Pro. It has all of the features of the 4K Pro but utilizes a Canon EF lens mount and has a larger 6K sensor. This camera will give you even better image quality and low light performance. Keep in mind that although you have better, more professional lens options with an EF mount, they are going to be more expensive than the Micro Four Thirds lens options. There's also the Micro Studio Camera, which is modular and compact. It has all of the features of the 4K Plus, but the SDI connections are micro SDI, and you don't have a built-in display, so you have to buy an external display in order to change the settings. You do have the option to run it off of a Canon LP battery though, so that's pretty nice. You can also pick up a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K or 6K, and it's not a bad choice either. But it's not quite as optimized for live streaming, there's no tally lights, and the form factor is a little awkward for long-term setups. If you're wondering which lenses to use for the Studio 4K variants, the Panasonic Lumix lenses are a great option that balance quality and affordability. You even have some good f2.8 variants. Look into getting a deal on them used, I got ours on mpb.com. If you want to get the most out of these cameras, or really any camera, focus on lighting, use the right lens, and take time to dial things in inside of your switcher. That's how you're going to get pro level results. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and be sure to check out this video on your screen to see our 3-camera Studio 4K setup.